The application against Diana Gamage was considered in the presence of a three-judge bench comprising Justices Gamini Amarasekara, Kumuduni Vikramasinghe and Janak De Silva. In a unanimous verdict, the Supreme Court has determined that Diana Gamage lacks legal citizenship in Sri Lanka, rendering her ineligible to hold a position as a Member of Parliament. Accordingly, the Supreme Court ordered government officials to take necessary action as per the court order. Justice Janak De Silva said that during the trial, it was established that Diana Gamage had entered Sri Lanka using a British passport. The justice added that despite the proceedings, she failed to provide evidence of her Sri Lankan citizenship before the court. The court invoked Article 89 of the Constitution, which prohibits individuals deprived of Sri Lankan citizenship from serving in the country's parliament. Based on this constitutional provision, the Supreme Court concluded that Diana Gamage's continued presence as an MP would be unconstitutional. Accordingly, the Supreme Court issued a writ explicitly stating that Diana Gamage is not qualified to hold a seat in the parliament. Lawyer Hafeel Fariz represented the petitioner Oshala Lakmal Herath, while President's Counsel Shavindra Fernando appeared on behalf of Diana Gamage. Additionally, President's Counsel Farman Qasim represented the Samagi Janabalawege in the proceedings.
Parliamentary ආණ්ඩුව විපක්ෂ අවුරුදු 3-4ක් නිහඬව
The government and the opposition has maintained silence for 3 to 4 years, failing to address my numerous appeals. I urged Anura Kumara Dissanayake and Sajith Premadasa, representatives of the government, ministers in parliament, to take action. Yet my pleas fell on deaf ears. Despite this, only a lone voice like that of Mujibur Rahman emerged to speak out and take some action. The rest remained silent, shielding this scandal. In the absence of parliamentary authority, as a proud citizen of Sri Lanka, I see the expulsion of Diana Gamage, the deceitful British woman, from parliament as a triumph for the Sri Lankan people.
මම ආඩම්බර වෙනවා ඒක ශ්‍රී ලංකීය ජනතාවගේ ජයග්‍රහණයක් ලෙස මම සලකනවා
2022 අයවැය විවාදී මම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ජනාධිපති
During the 2022 budget debate, when the president visited parliament, I presented certain documents and boldly stated that she isn't a Sri Lankan citizen. However, on that very day, as I addressed the parliament, the president countered by asserting that allegiance to the party issuing a red passport supersedes all. This shielded those who should be held accountable. Furthermore, she had benefited from the taxpayers' money for nearly 3.5 years. This financial support must cease. Additionally, she deceitfully took an oath as a minister, falsely representing herself as a Sri Lankan citizen, thereby accessing taxpayer funds and enjoying the privileges of a minister. We intend to pursue legal recourse in the future.
රටේ බදු මුදල් ඒ බදු මුදල් නැවත ආපසු ගත යුතුයි.
The Sri Lankan Parliament also commented on Diana Gamage.
Diana Gamage මන්ත්‍රීතුමියට
The Supreme Court delivered a verdict on Diana Gamage. Those who were hiding from the courts fled with Gotabaya, therefore remained silent. The Supreme Court has ruled the National List MP from their end is no longer eligible to be a member of parliament. The SJB is responsible for this. They should have done a background check before naming and appointing an MP. There is no blame on the government. The opposition disregarded their responsibilities.
පිළිවෙල සියලු දේවල් හොයන්න ඕනේ. ආණ්ඩු පක්ෂයට පටවන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. ඒක විරුද්ධ පක්ෂයේ වකින් පැහැරීමක්.
අනවශ්‍ය දේවල් පොයින්ට් ඔෆ් ඕඩර් එක ගාමකට ඇමතිකම් දුන්නේ. අපි ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ ලබා දීපු තීන්දුව අභියෝගයට ලක් කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ.
We won't contest the Supreme Court's decision, but there's an issue. She lacks citizenship, which undermines the party's legitimacy. She's been the force behind registering and rallying MPs, yet her citizenship status throws a wrench in the works. It raises doubts about the legality of the party, the Samagi Janabalawege. She initiated the party formation, registered it, but without citizenship, her actions are in question. A non-citizen can't legally establish a party here. Whether she proceeded to sign the nominations is uncertain. But if that is the case, MP Sattanayake needs to reconsider. Many MPs are understandably concerned about this.
මේ යෝජනාවලට තත්සම් කරලා තිබුණා නම් මන් දන්නේ තිස්සතනායක මන්තුමා ආයෙසරයක් හිතන්න වෙයි. මන් දන්නවා ඔබතුමාලගේ മന്ത്രിතුමාලා හුඟක් බොහෝ දෙනෙක් කෑම කන තැනත් කතා කරලා හුඟක් කලබල වෙලා ඉන්නේ.
තිස්සතනායකට. මොකද ඒක මාරු කරලා හදලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ඒක නිසා ඒක කොහොමත් අදාළ වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
මම ඔබතුමාට උදව්වක් කරන්නේ මොකද අපි මෙතන තර්ක කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ඔබතුමාලා කිව්වට හරමයි කරේ මෙහෙමයි කරේ කියලා මොකද?
I did you a favor because it is useless for us to argue here, even though you say various things. The matter is now with the courts. So when the matter is taken up in the court, you will have to declare that the party was registered by a non-citizen. Then the manner in which the nominations were signed will be scrutinized. You must be prepared for that. There may be some sort of accord between Ranjit Madhuma Bandara and Diana Gamage. I believe it is wise for you to select a wise legal panel. Do not seek legal advice from counsel who crossed over to your side from our end. If you do so, I do not know where you will end up.
ගන්න එපා උපදේශ. ඒක ගත්තොත් ඔබතුමන්ලට මන් දන්නේ නැහැ කොහෙටද යන්න වෙන්නේ කියලා. කරුණාකරලා බලන්න මේ ව්‍යවස්ථාව අරගෙන පක්ෂක ලේකම්වරයෙක් ද්විත්ව පුරවැසිභාවය පිළිබඳ යාට ප්‍රශ්නයක් එන්නේ නැහැ. ලංකාවේ ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ ජනාධිපති හෝ අගමැති හෝ නැත්නම් മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් සම්බන්ධ පමණයි ද්විත්ව පුරවැසිභාවයෙන්.
ගාලි බවුසරය තමන්ගේ මන්ත්‍රී ධූරය අහෝසි කරගෙන අධිකරණ තීන්දුවත් එක්ක ගෙදර යනවා.
Instead of the Gali Bowser, battle tank will come to parliament soon to represent the Samagi Jana Balawege. That battle tank is Mujibur Rahman. It was she who nominated us. Therefore, if she is termed ineligible, our parliamentary positions are also lost. We see that they are trying to build an argument for such a concept. So I would like to say that from February 2020, Ranjit Maduma Bandara was the General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawege, while Sajid Premadas is the leader of Samagi Jana Balawege. Then for the 2020 parliamentary election, the nominations were given in March 2020 by the General Secretary named Ranjit Maduma Bandara that we get nominations, and we signed the nominations. A petition was filed in the Supreme Court at that time to cancel these nomination papers led by the leadership of Ranil Wickremesinghe and the United National Party. But the Supreme Court rejected that petition and declared that this nomination is legitimate and gave a decision at that time. A complaint was also submitted to the Election Commission at that time. At that time, the Election Commission accepted that this was a duly submitted nomination paper, so there is no obstacle for the MPs. Diana Gamage had no responsibility as General Secretary, and that affirmed by the Supreme Court and the Election Commission. We would like to remind you that since 2020, we have not paid membership fees to the United National Party. We have paid our membership fees to Samagi Jana Balawege.
සමග ජන බලවේගයට කියන එකත් මේ අවස්ථාවේදී අපි කියන්නට ඕනේ.